Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Digital Media Sync this Tuesday morning, the last Tuesday of July. So this month also just flew right by us all. So in this last week of July, I wanted to kind of wrap things up from the perspective of really how to do social media in general smartly and do it so that you're not spending a lot of time on social media platforms and actually doing the work, of your business. So this was actually probably going to be boring one of our viewers, Rebecca Mead, because this was a presentation that I did last week for the midweek marketing sessions from Muse and the Middletown Chamber of Commerce. So this was something that Rebecca has been doing for the past several weeks, and I was a guest for 2 weeks. I was really super happy and honored to be a guest during that period of time. And we really wanted to talk about how to plan doing social media and how to actually implement doing social media in a more general kind of sense. So kind of bringing the lens a little bit wider than what we're used to. So I just wanted to do a couple of admin type of things to talk about where we are and what we're doing here. So this is Digital Media Sync, and Digital Media Sync is one of the programs, one of the live streaming programs from Known. So Known Co-working is an actual physical space. It's a co-working space. And you can visit the website at nhvknown.com. And that's where you can see where your options are. At this moment, we have dedicated desks available and offices. You can come in for one day during the week, or you can come in for, there's monthly plans and so forth. So take a look at that. There are actually 2 other Known live programs that are happening throughout the weeks. And so one is actually called Known Live, and there are guests that talk about what they're doing, artists, business people, musicians, nonprofits, and so forth. So take a look when you go to the Known Co-working site, nhvknown.com. Take a look at the calendars and what's available from that perspective. And then the other thing is Pivot Talk. So Pivot Talk is also, again, super interesting. It's actually talking about businesses, and especially nowadays, pivoting the way that they do business, or the way that people do business, or how they've had to pivot their business. And so that is usually Wednesdays and Thursdays, or Thursdays. Again, take a look at the calendar for when that is happening. So I just wanted to provide that information. Digital Media Sync is every single Tuesday at 8:30, runs from 8:30 to about 9:30. Sometimes I'll close it a little bit earlier. It is live streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, and we're going to be putting it up on LinkedIn pretty soon as well. And what we're planning on doing is all of this can be made available on the website. So a portion of this is made available, premium, free information, and then what we're going to be doing is closing off some of the information and pushing it out via the website and making it available along with other online assets, and that is going to be $9 a month. So it's pretty cool. All right, so I just want to dive right into our presentation. So I'm going to bring the presentation up a little bit more. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section so that we can talk to you and say hi and answer any questions. Good morning, Lynn. Yay, you didn't have a conflict today. That's awesome. So any questions, just let me know. I'll have the comment section up and I'll be able to see that, and I'll be going back and forth between my screens so that I can take a look at what's going on in the world out there. Okay, so let's get started. So this is called Smart Social Media, and this was actually a part 2 of a 2-part series, but I think it really rounds out what a typical day should look like if you are doing your own social media as a business owner. And then also, I'm going to kind of point out some questions that you can ask, or items that you want to check off the list to be sure of if you're hiring somebody to do the work for you. Just really quickly introducing myself, just for those of you who don't know, I actually do own my own business. I'm a partner in Agents of Branding, and this is my information on how you can find me, including telephone number. And I do run Digital Media Sync, and again have guests on. So if anybody has a topic that they would like to present or see present, you can go to Facebook Digital Media Sync or Digital Media Sync group. You can also go to Known Co-working and ask a question underneath the event, and there's also the Known Community group as well. So there's lots of areas to reach me. I can be reached. So I wanted to start with a quote, which I usually don't do, I've noticed. But this person, Sean Gardner, was somebody that I first started following on Twitter probably about 10 years ago. He was one of the first people that I followed on Twitter, and he's a marketing expert, and he's specifically a social media expert. He has tweeted a bunch of things, and this really resonated with me because this is how I built my business as well. So I'm going to read it. And it is: social media is not just an activity. It is an investment of valuable time and resources. Surround yourself with people who not just support you and stay with you, but inform your thinking about ways to wow your online presence. And that is really something, good morning, Rick. That is really something that totally resonated with me when I was thinking about how I wanted to build my business, and that I really wanted to work with small businesses and nonprofits to really give them a bigger voice. And in my bio, you know, that's one of my quotes, is that I give small businesses a big voice, because that's possible with social media. We just don't want it to overtake people's time. And what that means is don't go down the rabbit hole. So a lot of times when people are posting on social media or utilizing social media for their business, and I'm guilty of this too, I will be checking my personal accounts as well, seeing what's going on, answering people. So far, somebody's just asking me if I'm on, and I'm like, yes, I am. So yeah, just went down the rabbit hole there kind of a little bit. So it's really thinking about planning out your time, just like anything else, not getting stuck, wasting time on social media, especially if you have many other things to do. So that's that. And there's just a really simple formula to follow for social media communications, right? You plan, you post, you analyze, and you repeat.
And so what that means is you really kind of plan out. What I like to do is plan out for the month what the topics are going to be, how I'm going to communicate, just very generally. You don't have to necessarily have every single post created, but you really want to have a sense for the week, the month, the quarter, the half year, the year, where you're going to be, in your voice on each of the platforms, and how you're going to deliver what it is that you want to communicate. And that also doesn't just mean promote, 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 sell, sell, sell. It also means educate and inform and give a sense of your personality, and just really, think about, who you are and what you're doing on social media as a business. What are you providing from the perspective of information, education, customer service, um, you know, being a good online citizen, that sort of thing. Good morning, Rebecca. I was just saying how, Rebecca, you might be a little bit bored. I don't know. Maybe I'm changing it up a bit. But the core is still the same. Plan, post, analyze, repeat. And repeat doesn't mean repeat the same thing over and over again, which you can. I'm going to back up a little bit. One of the things that people don't realize is I use the rule of not just one time. You don't have to utilize a social media post just one time and then throw it away. It may be something that you bring up again because it's one of your core pieces of your communications, and you can tweak it a little bit and reuse that particular post to continue to reiterate what your brand is. And last week, I don't know if Rick is still on, but last week, Rick and I did a workshop where it was mostly, definitely Rick talking about your brand. And what, we're talking about now is really what it means to bring your brand online and reiterate those things that are important to convey about what your organization or what your company does. So yeah, just continuing over and over again, doing social media well a habit, or hiring somebody who is going to do that for you. So here are the questions to ask when developing a plan. So first and foremost is, what is your purpose on social media? Because if you don't know that, and you hop onto what you think are the trendiest, or even what you think may be the most effective social media platforms, and they're really, they turn out not to be so good for your brand, which is question number 2. What is your brand's objective? And they really work together, of course. Then, this particular campaign is going to fail. So understand what your purpose is on social media. What are you trying to do? And granted, what you are trying to do is to sell, but social media is definitely a conversation, and straight selling all the time, constant selling is not going to work. So in this case, for me and for my brand, one of the things that I'm utilizing social media for is to have a conversation, to educate, and to talk about where I'm coming from and what I've learned in the 10 years that I have been in business, both on my own with She's So Social, and also with Agents of Branding, and also the people that I partner with as well. So the third question is, what do you hope to achieve utilizing social media? And these are questions that I ask my client. What do you hope to achieve? How will you know when you've achieved it? And there's lots of ways to do that. Many times people will say, I want to go viral. This is still, in the past 10 years that I've been in business, the big thing that people say is, I want to go viral. I really want to blow up the channel. I want to have many, many followers. And that's all well and good, because yes, that draws people in for that 1 second, right? So the time that you went viral, what did you do with that time to actually help your business? How did it help? Did you get, when you got your followers or friends or connections, did you continue that relationship? What do you have in place to continue that relationship? It's also good to take a look at what is the biggest barrier to your success on social media. To kind of think about, what may happen as well, not just from a positive, but from a possible challenge. How will you meet those challenges? Sometimes the biggest barrier is time. Time is one of those resources, and you have to kind of weigh, do I want to do this myself? Do I want to do some of it myself? Do I want to hire out? Who do I want to have within my organization to help represent me? So I know oftentimes I'll talk about, I know the last few weeks when I talked about promoting an event, and it was really talking about the resources available to you from the perspective of who you have for employees, or somebody that, an agency that you've hired, or a professional that you've hired to help get your voice out there, your business's voice out there. So thinking about what may be a barrier to success, whether it's time, resources of people, getting stuck in messaging, not planning well, that sort of thing. And then how does social media fit into your growth plan? And it's really interesting, because when we take a look at, from my perspective, if I'm looking at how campaigns are working, whether they be organic or paid, or how that looks as a combination as well, it's really interesting to see where social media actually fits in sales, or in revenue, or in leads, and that sort of thing. So having an idea of what percentage social media is going to play in your growth plan, and then adjusting for that, and having other solutions in place as well, is really, really important to have. And then just asking these questions again when reevaluating how you are doing online. So a lot of times when I'm doing digital media sync, I'll be talking about specific platforms or tools to kind of walk through what it is that is going to help you actually implement your plan or campaign on social media. Specifically. So planning and implementation tools are really, really helpful. The right tools will give you the ability to spend less time implementing your social media campaign and more time actually doing your business. And if your business is working in social media, I know that a lot of you are very familiar with what some of these tools are. So I'm just going to go through them. But before I do that, thinking about what it is you want these tools to do for you and help you with. So one of the things is actually listening. And listening just means really kind of reading up and looking at what competitors are doing, what your peers are doing, what kind of the best practices those businesses that actually do social media very well or have a team that does it very well, and taking a look at what's going on the platforms and seeing what that playing field really looks like. You need tools to actually create your content. So whether that's tools that are helping you create videos or animations, creating complete posts so you can kind of see what it looks like. What are the creation tools that are really helping you out and making things easy for you to do? I know that there's definitely tools out there from a creation standpoint that have the sizes of images set up for each of the particular platforms already. And that makes things, a lot easier and cuts down on time for you. Tools that publish and specifically publish on multiple platforms. Engagement. So taking a look at how people are engaging with you on each of your platforms. So if you're utilizing 2, 3, 5, 6 platforms throughout your campaign or your social media plan, people are going to be engaging exactly where they are comfortable to engage with you. They're not going to particularly engage, or it's going to become more difficult to tell people, hey, engage with me here. It's easier to go to where people are already in a conversation and saying, okay, I'm here and I'm making it easier for you to engage with me. Instead of kind of bringing people over. It is possible to do so. There's definitely ways to communicate that. We do that with our clients often, but it's always a lot easier to meet people where they already are. Tools that analyze. So I know I talk a lot about, and I've done many webinars on utilizing Google Analytics, but there are other analytic platforms as well, and that actually gather specifically for social media platforms, individual platforms, and kind of brings everything together and shows you how things work across platform or throughout. And then the ability to collaborate with team members or those that you've hired as well. So you really have to think about how many of these larger tools or platforms you want to use, because although some of them are freemium, it does start to add up. So if you're paying monthly fees for, say, one platform for each of these tasks, it's going to add up. But if you have a platform that does maybe 3, 4, sometimes all of these things, then you are basically looking at one premium fee. So really thinking about how that fits into your budget. And from the perspective of also, if you're hiring somebody to do the work for you, or an agency to do the work for you, seeing what they have available for reporting tools that make it easy for you to see what's going on and how this is affecting your bottom line. I'm going to go on to the next slide. So just really quickly, what we're looking at from the perspective of these tools, again, answering the questions that we just had here. What do you want to do? You want to listen, create, publish, engage, analyze, and collaborate. So your tools are going to be doing things like providing the ability for content management, customer engagement or prospect engagement, multi-account management, which is what I was talking about before. If you're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and so on and so forth, YouTube, how many accounts can one of these larger platforms or tools handle in order for you to be able to do your job, or a resource is doing, the job for you. Post scheduling, can you schedule out, I know just one point of note, Instagram actually still does not allow any platform pretty much um, to schedule out posts and then just post them. There's a notification and then you post out from that. So there's still a two-step process, and you still kind of have to be in real time, so to speak, with Instagram. So you can schedule out your post, but then you have to remember what the schedule is, or you have to be dinged by your mobile device or desktop in order to click and get that post out there. And posting also means reposting as well. So if part of your plan is to repost, again, peers or collaborators, that's really something to think about as well. Can you do that with the tools that are available to you? And then, of course, reporting and analytics. So there is, this came from a publication, Captera, and this is some robust tools. They had a whole list of them, probably 30. And these are just some of the top tools that they have indicated as really robust tools. And you can see that of all the things that I've talked about, content management, customer engagement, multiple account management, post scheduling, reporting analytics, and then social media monitoring as well. And that's kind of monitoring what other organizations are doing, whether they're, peers, competitors, those that you really look up to, that sort of thing. So Monday was listed as the top, as well as Sprout Social. And I wanted to just take a moment and direct your attention to deployment. And so deployment is just really, a lot of times if you want to do things quickly, you don't want to be on the big screen, you're sitting on a train maybe someday, or outside in your backyard and you don't want to drag your whole laptop, can you do some of these tasks on your mobile device? And the answer is, with many of these, most of them, in this case of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, you can do that. So they're either both cloud-based and mobile-based as well. And then the screen right here is means that it's also downloadable. The tool that I have been using, the big platform that I've been using for a very long time, and then I stopped for a while. And by a while, I mean like 3 months. And then I was like, oh crap, I really need this, is Sprout Social. And I know colleagues who use Monday as well. eClincher is another one. Falcon.io is another one. Hello Wolfie. Social Champ. And it was interesting because the one that I didn't see for a while until like way down on the list was Hootsuite. But that's also another tool. It's relatively robust, but there's others. There's always a larger kind of robust platform that's coming out and tries to bring in as much of this as possible. And there's only really a few of these platforms that really do all of these things very well, but not only very well, very affordably. So there's some even larger platforms and very, very much more expensive platforms that have a very high ticket price from a deployment status. So they're very large platforms. They're very powerful. Very large organizations utilize them because they're very, very large, and you have multiple people that are using them across a nation or across internationally. So they have to do things like make sure that they capture all customer, engagement, including complaints, and make sure that somebody is there, an actual person is there in order to mitigate any issues. And so it's really interesting to watch, even from a consumer perspective. So I know there's T-Mobile is one where, or any of the mobile devices, it's really interesting to see that a lot of people will go to Twitter. Oh, you're welcome, Lynn. A lot of people will go to Twitter to say, hey, something's not working, where's this thing? And how quickly there is a customer service person at the ready saying, hey, go over to DM, ask your question there, I'll be right over there and I'll help mitigate that. So that when somebody does something like that, usually it's because there's a plan in place. And so one of the big, large pieces of a social media plan means customer service interaction. And how are these businesses going to deploy their employees that work in customer service or support, whatever that support is, whether it's tech support or customer support? What does the support structure look like on social media? Because social media is really the platform system that is utilized to mitigate a lot of these issues. So people will go to social media to complain or to praise, and the business wants a response available. So having the tools in order to do that is something to consider. Where is it in in your plan, and what level of importance is that for you? So that's some of the more robust tools that do a lot of the implementation, content, customer engagement, being able to handle multiple accounts, scheduling, reporting and analytics. And reporting and analytics really is very important because for business owners, you definitely want to see very, very quickly what the bottom line is. Is this bringing me money? Is this bringing me more followers? Are people engaging with me? Is this just money going down the drain, or am I actually seeing some results from this? These are all questions, and they're all super valid questions as well. But also, curious business owners who have a little bit of time to really kind of dig in, and professionals who are working directly in this field in marketing and advertising, and specifically social media and online communications, really are looking at the reporting and analytics to give them answers. How we get into these good results, great results. Why is there bad results? How is this all kind of working? And what's the pieces of the puzzles that we can put together and kind of understand where the positives and negatives are, and mitigate that as quickly as possible. So then there's also ancillary platforms to me. So one of them is creative platforms, and what's available from the perspective of being able to put together the creative, the posts, that sort of thing, that you want it to be very simple. So you want to have the ability to have your brand's colors and fonts quickly available to you. You want to have stock photography, so to speak, available to you, images as well, illustrative images, colors, backgrounds, um, things that you can just really drag and drop into a situation. So this is after. I just want to back up a little bit because this is really after. You don't want to be utilizing these platforms to build your brand out on the fly. You want to have your brand pieces in place, available at the ready. That's the type of thing that I'm talking about. So you want to make sure that you are very comfortable with your brand, with the colors that you are using, with the font that you are using, the way that it is being used. So having a brand agency or within your own brand and marketing department, really have that set. Everybody should already have a brand manual available to them. From the perspective of visuals. Then we're talking about getting onto these creative platforms and utilizing them and thinking about it from the perspective of, are these things, again, are these tools making things very easy, cutting down my time, the usability factor for myself or employees, or those that I've hired, and I want to go back and forth and say, they'll be able to take items that they've created, put it in a format that they can send over, and I can take a look at, that sort of thing. So the platform that has been kind of sussed out by the general creative population, just on a very basic level, is Canva. And Canva is very collaborative. So you can build teams around Canva, and you can bring your brand in to Canva. Canva will actually recognize the colors of your brands as you start bringing images and that sort of thing in, and you can take that and put it aside in a folder. This is my brand folder. This is what things are going to look like when I build out what my creative is going to look like on social media platforms, and even in the print atmosphere as well. Canva is a very robust yet simple to use platform. Another couple of platforms that are very much like that, Pablo by Buffer. And Buffer is actually another deployment platform as well. Buffer, you can deploy to multiple platforms, you can schedule and that sort of thing. And Buffer created Pablo. Pablo was actually the first Canva, so it was really the platform where it was kind of drag and drop your creative in, and then they also provided stock photography and also kind of stock quotes, so to speak. So a lot of times when brand personalities and, whether it's a personal brand or a business brand, were developing and creating their posts, they were able to do this very quickly and simply with Pablo. So again, there was backgrounds and borders and images, whether it's illustrative or photo images, and really making things very easy from that perspective. Get Stencil is another one, and this is one that actually Rick Callahan from Creative introduced to me, and I was kind of playing around with that as well. Again, the same kind of platform. And then of course there's Adobe, people are using Adobe and InDesign and that sort of thing to kind of like really create things, but then to be able to save it into folders in the cloud and share and that sort of thing, and make things easy to deliver to platforms. So that's the other thing too that Canva does, where when you have a finished product, being able to deliver it to the platform is important as well. And then there's a whole slew of stock platforms as well, so stock photography platforms. And one of the things that we've been looking for in several clients is being able to kind of have Canva has some stock photography that's available both as a freemium and as premium, so it's like $1 per photo or $1 per use, that sort of thing. And then Pablo is the same way as well. But then there's others like nappy.co, which definitely, if you are looking for specifically, because one of the things I've noticed a few years ago, and I remember kind of reaching out to other professionals and, how do we get a more diverse set of stock photography, and diverse in many ways, including Black people, people of color, and situations, as diverse situations as well, where it didn't seem so cold and, focused and fake and that sort of thing. So there's nappy.co, there is Blends, there's actually a Medium article that I'm going to put on the nhvknown.com website, where it talks about different types of stock photography that's available, that's not kind of like your run-of-the-mill and not particularly diverse as well. So I'm going to put that out there. And I found I also found that these were much more alive and vibrant and actually more what I'm used to seeing in the world as well. So I will definitely share that. Yeah, so that's your creative platforms and your more kind of ancillary platforms. And I wanted to jump out of this for a moment because there's another platform too. There's this whole, when you go back to Monday is also a project planning platform as well. And there's lots of project planning platforms that you can utilize. And so some of them are more communication planning platforms, so something like Slack, and Slack also connects to other platforms like the Google Suite, and so being able to utilize that. Trello is another one. ClickUp is another one, so it's just kind of giving yourself a to-do list and then assigning it out, or working in teams and being able to do that. But from the perspective of really kind of laying out a plan, one of the platforms that I really, really love utilizing, and I'm going to stop this for a second, and there I am. Oops, I have Lynn. There we go. Lynn's right across my face there. I'm going to share another specific platform that I've been utilizing, and it's called Airtable. And people have been hearing me talk about Airtable for quite a few years now. And whenever I partner with anybody, from the perspective of working with them and developing a schedule and a plan, this is what I utilize. So it looks like a big Google spreadsheet, but it is very, very interactive. So this is what a social schedule would look like. So you have your post, related story, what platform is it going to go on, the character count. So it'll actually perform tasks, your post length, and you can just kind of go on and on. And then you can also bring attachments in, so actual visual attachments. And you can view it in a variety of different ways as well. So here's the schedule part, and here's the content part, and all of these can also interact. as well. So here's your groups, your spotlight post, your food fair posts. This particular one is for travel and dining, discounts and deals. So this one is 10 tips for making the most of your Mexican cruises. So this particular organization, and the interesting thing about Airtable is there's actual organizations that will share out whatever their plans are to kind of give an example, and help provide template for how these things will look. So actually, if I go to Airtable, here's all of my Airtables. And this is originated basis, and I've actually took them from different templates. They have a nice little help center. They have webinars. There's a guide to how to utilize. Airtable. What I was looking for. Here we go. Switching from spreadsheets to Airtable, so just being able to bring everything in. What I was looking for was specific basis. There's a template gallery somewhere. So this is, definitely a resource I really, really love using. So I just wanted to introduce that as well. All right, so we're coming up to closing up this particular webinar, but I just wanted to go all the way back to what these questions are when you're thinking about planning and you're thinking about how you're utilizing your time. And when I was doing this webinar on a Zoom call, I had the question of going back here and stopping this and going to the other one. Oh yeah, Rebecca. Rebecca knows about Airtable. She loves Airtable. It's really probably between Sprout Social and Airtable, I probably have like the two most powerful tools in my own mind. That's my mind. Somebody else's mind might be different. I don't know. That's why I'm constantly having conversations with people and asking what their opinion is as well. So yeah, when I was doing the webinar, one of the questions was, how much time should you actually be spending on doing your social media? And sometimes the correct answer is close to 0, because somebody else should be doing it for you. And there's a lot of questions that are involved with that, right? Do you have the resources? Do you have the financial resources to hire somebody? How do you, that's like a whole other question, is how do you budget everything from the perspective of time and money? But and everybody has a different formula, but my formula is, in the beginning, when you're really planning out the whole thing, you really want to take about a half day and break it up, take a few minutes to kind of walk around in between like 20-30-minute sessions and really think about the different aspects about asking these questions, right? What is your brand objective? What is your purpose? What do you hope to achieve? And really dig into that, because this is going to help build out your plan. So probably like one half day going through all of these questions, and then another half day kind of building out what a plan is going to look like. As far as implementation is concerned, you really don't want to spend more than, you want to take an hour or two probably at the beginning of each month and kind of go through what things are going to look like for that month. Understanding that things will pop up, ideas will pop up, situations will pop up where you are going to say, oh my gosh, it's Thursday, it's National Pasta Day, da da da, I'm a restaurant, or I love whatever it is, and then decide, okay, I'm going to make a special. Actually, that's not a good example because you should know when National Pasta Day is if you're a restaurant and have that planned out already and probably build something around that from a promotional standpoint. So think about it that way. But whatever happens, and just really think about, okay, can I take 10 or 15 minutes out of my day in the morning and later in the afternoon and kind of just circle around to my social media platforms, see what's going on, see if there's anything that I have to mitigate. 10 or 15 minutes per day should really do it. For me, it's 10 or 15 minutes per day per client, plus the planning and everything else that I have to do. But actual implementation should not be taking a long time out of your day. That includes me, and I do the implementation. So that's what I would kind of walk away with from that perspective. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to just take a few moments or seconds, 30 seconds to just be very quiet. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to close it out. Alrighty. So just to wrap up, I am Julia Gooch. This is Digital Media Sync. I am here every Tuesday from 8:30 to 9:30, but I'm also available for any questions. Go to the Digital Media Sync page, Digital Media Sync group. If you want to rewatch this or first time watch it, just go to www.nhbknown.com and you will be able to see not only this video, but now we have a nice library of digital media sync videos and other videos as well. Most of these right now are currently free and available to you, but we are going to also put premium content up as well, and that is going to be at $9 a month. But for now, get on our mailing list. Sign up for our newsletter. We are always talking about what's available from the perspective of Digital Media Sync, Known Live, Pivot Talk, and other information. There's a nice little form on nhbknown.com, and you can pick the items that you are interested in knowing more about. So that way we're only delivering to you what you want to see in your inbox. We look forward to, let me pull up the information on this. There's actually going to be a Known Live coming up as well, which is super exciting. And it is going to be, dun, 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 drum roll. All right, the Black Business Alliance, and that is Wednesday, July 29th. So that's coming up tomorrow. Put this on your calendar. 3 p.m. So Anne Marie Knight, who is the acting executive director of the Black Business Alliance, shares how the impact of COVID-19 has affected Black businesses and how they are making a difference. So this is really just great information. Every one of these Known Lives is very exciting. I'm actually very excited to hear about this as well with Anne Marie Knight and the Black Business Alliance. So I'll definitely be tuning into this Facebook live stream right here on Known Co-working. Next week,
I am going to be going back to talking about Google Analytics, diving into analytics a little bit more. Every time I come back around to Google Analytics, I know that a lot of people are really interested and they have questions. So if you have questions, let me know and I'll try to answer them. The following week, which is the first Tuesday of August, nope, that's the following week. That's what I'll be doing. The following week after that, which is August 12th. Okay, August 12th, we are going to be talking with Gina Bingham of the New Haven Free Public Library. Yeah, so make sure that you put this on your calendar as well. So New Haven area folks, this is so super important. I know that when the library had shut down for COVID as well, there was there's still a bunch of online resources that are available. And when I was going through what the resources were for businesses and for personal use, and all you need is a library card. So Gina's going to be talking about that. I'm super excited for this. First of all, I love having guests. Second of all, I love the library. Third of all, I love Gina. Fourth of all, I'm just really excited to be helping to share this information because I think it's really important for those who are in business and those who want to be in business. There are really a lot of free resources that are available. And the other thing too is if you would like to be a guest on Digital Media Sync, drop me a note and I will put my information up for that. There's the rabbit hole thing. Yep. So social media at agentsofbranding.com. You can leave me a note there. And let me know if you want to be a guest or present something, or if there's a topic that you're really interested in. I would love to know that. All right, I'm signing off. Everybody have a great day.